The outcome of Tuesday's election is already having an impact at the state capitol. When Democrats failed in their bid to win a majority, it changed the equation for who would lead the Texas House. Members will choose who will be the House Speaker, but the GOP's grip on power in the chamber ended the hopes of Democrats winning the powerful position. That opened the door for Beaumont Republican Dade Phelan.
And I'm here to say I am humbled and honored that I have the support to be the next speaker. It's not about politics. It's not about vote records. It's not about policy, really. It's not about where you're from. It's about trust. And I think the majority of this list right here that will continue to grow, they trust me. And I put my trust in them as well.
Phelan was referring to a list of his supporters in the House. We want to get some insight into the significance of the House Speaker position. Joining us now is former State Representative Larry Gonzalez, a Republican from Round Rock. He now runs Desk 138 Consulting. Larry, what makes House Speaker such an important position of power at the Capitol?
Well, the Speaker of the House is going to appoint the committee chairman. The committee chairman will then be responsible for the entire agenda of their committee and what comes to the floor, what's even heard, what's debated, what members even have the opportunity to talk about is determined by those committee chairmen. The other thing as well is that the members expect the Speaker of the House to be the cheerleader for the House. So when the governor and lieutenant governor get together, as they often do, to go over matters, those 149 other members of the House are expecting their speaker to go in there and to represent the will of the body of that particular chamber.
Talk a little bit about the process of choosing the speaker. How was Phelan able to walk in and flat out say the race was over and he's won? Is this really a done deal?
So the process is first you have to follow the official paperwork that the statute requires, and then you start building coalitions of people. You've got 5 or 6 people who reach out to 5 or 6 people, and it begins to spread a little bit more that your word is getting out. At some opportunity, you'll have the chance to visit with larger blocks of voters, of members. As far as how he gets there, I mean, look, Representative Phelan is a good member. He's respected and trusted by Democrats and Republicans alike. When he was elevated to the position of State Affairs Chairman last session, which is a very difficult job with huge responsibilities, he proved to the members that he can do it. The members trusted him at State Affairs. He did his job. So now when he says, I want this next position, will you help me get there? The answer was yes, and it's done. Yes, he is a Speaker-elect Dade Phelan.
You know, whoever becomes Speaker will face huge challenges. What are some of the things that you're watching in the run-up to the session?
Number one is obviously the budget. It's the only thing constitutionally that body has to get done is the budget, and the budget has kind of a trifecta of issues going on. Number one is the legislature spent a lot of money last year. Number two is we make our money off of the severance tax from the sale of oil and gas. When oil and gas prices are down, the state loses revenue, and they've been down for quite some time. And then everything COVID related, which cut into our ability to collect taxes as well. That's going to be a big issue. The next big issue is going to be redistricting. Once every 10 years, this body redraws lines for House, Senate, and congressional districts. That can be very tough. This isn't just an inter-party discussion on redistricting. It is an intra-party discussion. You do have friends within one individual party who are battling for their own lines. Sometimes pieces of legislation can be held hostage in a redistricting session. So redistricting will be the second big topic. And the third clearly is going to be anything COVID related. How we run our schools, how we run our businesses, how government responded, the health and safety of Texans. There's going to be dozens of bills filed in direct response to how COVID affected Texas and how the state of Texas responded accordingly.
You know, assuming that Representative Phelan becomes Speaker, any thoughts on how he will move forward in choosing other leadership, specifically Speaker Pro Tem? You know, last time Speaker Bonin chose someone from the other party, and you know, many people saw that kind of as a way of reaching across the aisle.
I completely agree with Representative Bonin. Speaker Bonin did. I haven't spoken to Speaker like Phelan yet, but in this era of today, and seeing how split and evenly divided we are across this country, I think a little bit of a bipartisanship would certainly go a long way. you look at a presidential race right now across the nation with such narrow, thin margins, and the difficulty that we've had having a conversation party to party. I look for this particular legislative session to heal some of those wounds in Texas, to look for a collaborative, cooperative effort. I think that's going to extend into committee assignments and leadership roles, and who in that body is helping decide some of those very, very important issues, is to look to the entire body and see who is capable of doing the very difficult work that is ahead of them.
All right, Larry Gonzalez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Desperate for dollars, a state agency begs lawmakers for millions in additional funding. Why they say they need the money to keep the state out of trouble in federal court. DPS outlines how much money they've spent to stop serious threats and provide added security, what they're telling lawmakers as they begin to build the state's next budget.